For the task 8, you're going to go and create a views for amenity. But before that, we go to our view slash down unit. Then we copy this and put amenities. And then under views, we create amenities dot hi, and I'll come here, I'll copy all of this, and I'll be importing just amenity. Okay, so we are going to start with a route that will retrieve all amenity objects. So modify the route to be amenities, and it's going to be a get method, and then it's not going to take any argument, and then I would get all amenities. Get all amenities. So first, we retrieve a list of all the instances of amenities. We are going to have to create a list, an empty list that will hold the instances. So I'll call it amenity list, and then we are going to call storage.all and person amenity. We're going to say storage.all person amenity, and then we want to get all the items, and immediately we are going to iterate through the key value pairs. So we are going to say for key value this. So our interest is in the value, because we know the key is made up of the class name dot id. So our interest is in the value, which should be the instance of the amenity class. So what we are going to do is to call the dict method on each of the value. We are going to say value dot to dict. So this will turn it to convert it to a dictionary value, and then we are going to append each of them to the empty list that we created. We call dot append on it, and then finally we return it as a JSON payload. And let me get this right. Next is we are going to create a route for retrieving a specific amenity object by using its ID. I'm going to copy this, paste it, and then This route is going to be expecting an ID, amenity ID, and it's going to be a get method, and it's going to be taking amenity ID as a parameter, and this the name is going to be get amenity because we are looking to get to retrieve one. Retrieve amenity object. So we are going to get the amenity object with the given ID from the storage by calling storage.get. The amenity is equal to storage.get, and we're passing amenity and then amenity ID. And then if amenity is found, we are going to return the amenity object in JSON format. Return it in a JSON format, but after calling to dict method to be able to first convert it to a dictionary. And if amenity is not found, we return with about 404. Next will be a route for deleting an amenity. Let me push this down. So this is going to be a delete method, and it's going to be expecting an ID, and the method will be delete method, and now will be delete amenity, and it's going to be taking an amenity ID as parameter, and here we are grabbing the amenity by passing the ID, and then if amenity is found, we call storage dot delete, and then we pass in the object, and then call storage dot save to persist the changing, and then we return an empty check. All right, JSON file. My bad. Return an empty dictionary and 200 status code, and if amenity is now found, we return about 404. And then the next one, copy this. You're going to be creating a route for creating a new object, a new amenity object, and this is going to be a post method, and you won't be checking any ID, and also won't be checking any parameter. And the name would be create amenity. And then for this one, we are going to first check if the content type is not JSON, because since we are creating amenity instance of amenity, so we are expecting data from the user. So we are going to say if request dot content type is now equal to application slash JSON. Then we are going to return with about 400 and the message now is JSON. And also we're going to check if the request data is empty. We say if not request dot get JSON. That is, if it's empty, we are equally going to abort with this message. And then if all checks pass, you're going to get the JSON data from the request. So we're going to grab this one. And we say data. And then we are going to check if name is a key in the JSON data. But to create an amenity, there has to be a name. That is the name of the amenity. So we say if name is not in data, we are going to turn with about 400 and the message missing name. And then if all this check is passed, we are going to create a new amenity object with the JSON data. So we say amenity is equal to call amenity and then pass in the data, and then we call amenity.save to persist the change, the creation of a new amenity instance, and then finally we return just running file, and then we pass the amenity object after calling the to dig method, and then together with 200 static scope. And lastly, we are going to be creating a route for updating an existing amenity object by using the ID, by passing in the ID. So I'm going to copy everything from here. So for this one, we're expecting an ID from the route, which is going to be amenity ID, and the method is going to be a put method, and the name of the function is going to be update amenity, and it's going to be taking a parameter. So already we've had these two checks in place, and if they pass, you get the data, and then we are going to get the amenity object from the storage by passing the ID, the amenity ID. So we say amenity storage dot get amenity and amenity ID. Then if amenity, we are going to create a list of null keys that consists of the non-modifiable attributes like we've been doing. We say ignore keys. First one is ID created at updated at, okay, and it's about 3 of them. So then the next is we are going to iterate through all the data from the user so that we can be able to compare, to check that the key in the data is not in this list of is not key. So we say for key value in data dot items, and then we are going to ensure that we won't update any attributes in the ignore list. So we say if key is not in ignore keys, we are going to use set attribute method to pass amenity and then the key followed by the value. And then we call amenity dot save to resist this change, and then we return we return the object by first converting it to a dictionary and then passing it to JSONify, and then the status code of 200 as well. And then if amenity is not found, return with abort 404. So for now, we are not going to be testing this because for us to test amenity, for us to create amenity, we have to create place first because place is what has the amenity. There's a relationship between the place and amenity. So until we create the place.